What's up, everybody? It's Chad. I'm back again with another episode of Ask Chad Grassy Logic. We're here with a special episode because I'm here with another veteran. Thank you for coming down, by the way, from El Paso. That was a long drive.
6, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I got yours. So yeah, it's going to be a veteran kind of based episode for a little bit. We're going to talk about some veteran stuff. It's great. I'm a veteran myself, as some of you guys know. Some of you don't. Yes, I was in the Army from 2008 till about 2011-12. Got out and went to school and, started doing advocacy stuff about a couple years after that. So, just kind of continued on.
Hey, when you got out, there was a lot of possibilities, and right now there's a lot of possibilities for veterans.
Yeah.
Generations before,
Yeah.
we didn't have as much, but I think everything's coming along with, with the VA and being a veteran. And
yeah.
So,
and still fighting for vets. I really try to focus my fights for the veterans. It's the reason why I'm here.
Thank you, Sean.
Yeah, thank you. And by the way, why don't you introduce yourself to everybody?
Hello, my name is Victor Corral. I'm from El Paso, Texas. I'm a combat veteran. I was a combat engineer for the Army.
Cool.
I served from 2002 to 2006. And then I did my National Guard time from 2007 to 2010.
Yeah.
And then I also did civil service.
Oh, cool. So you worked on base for a bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was a quality assurance evaluator, and I make sure that clinics and hospitals were in the best conditions for veterans.
Yeah.
Hey man, when you're fighting, the least you
the littlest things can help. Yeah,
is, when you go to a hospital, or let's say a veteran comes back, because the wife is delivering in one of our military installations. So I was the guy, that made sure that those rooms were clean, in perfect conditions for them to just go on and make sure they're good.
Awesome. Well, you know what? Thank you for your service, man. I appreciate that.
Thanks, Chad.
Yeah. I'm glad you're here, and glad you came back, because we know how that goes with the whole deployment thing.
Oh yes, I made it.
Yeah. And for those of you watching, if you're a veteran, thank you for your service as well too. I know it's not Veterans Day or anything, but I appreciate y'all as well. I personally know the struggle.
Oh yeah.
So man. I get it. So and the reason why I use cannabis is for PTSD. Because of the combat PTSD and everything. So that's something I don't share all the time, but here in the state, actually, PTSD is one of the highest reasons why people have medical cannabis cards.
Oh yes,
yeah, it's the highest percentage.
And then there's a lot of stigmas and stereotypes behind what cannabis can do for veterans, mm-hmm. and not a lot of research, because it's still Schedule I drug, and the conversations on the table as to when is it going to be open, for us to receive cannabis as a medicine.
Yeah.
So here we are, having that conversation.
Yeah. Well, speaking of, let's talk about CannaVets, because that's the reason why we're here today. We want to talk about the veterans, but I also want to highlight who you guys are trying to help veterans. So can you tell us a little bit about CannaVets?
Yes, CannaVets is a story of resiliency.
Drive on with the mission.
It's a story of veterans that have been taking a lot of pills and want a best option, for medicine.
Mm-hmm.
How I, came up with the idea is because me as a veteran, a couple of years ago, cannabis was still very stigmatized and illegal.
Yeah.
Back then, it still is, but back then it was very scary, because this medicine could put you in jail just for trying to heal yourself.
Yeah.
So one day I was like, I don't even like to call cannabis marijuana.
Yeah.
I like to call it cannabis.
Yeah, that's what it's named.
So yeah, and One day I was just smoking cannabis, and I was like, man, I wonder if there's a lot of veterans like myself, that just want legal cannabis to be available, medicinal cannabis to be there and ready, uh, whenever you need it. And that's when I came out with the uh, word CannaVets.
Yeah, it's a cool name, by the way.
Because I was like, there's a lot of veterans that use cannabis for medicine,
A lot of us.
and there's a lot of us that are can identify with all the stigmas and traumas.
Yeah.
That happen to a lot of veterans. Everybody has a different story, but as veterans, we are all connected, and there's been a lot of movements throughout the United States now with involving veterans and passing laws, and us raising our voice because we already did our time. We already fought for our country, and we came back, and we have our issues, health issues. We have our traumas. It can be all kinds of traumas. It can include even sexual trauma,
Yeah.
sexual harassment. There's a lot of things that happen in the military that we deal in it. And when we get out, in my time, you know, like I was telling you, when I came back from deployment, I was given 3 months, and then I was out. I was on my own, so
Yeah.
I was like, oh wow, I suffered from traumatic brain injuries, and I just need with traumatic brain injuries, there's a lot of nerve pain. So
So did you get hit with an IED?
I got hit with an ID and also head concussions.
Okay.
Working in the motor pool and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So when you deal with traumatic brain injuries, sometimes the migraines are so bad, man, that you just want to take your head off.
Yeah.
And
all my buddies that that went through the same thing, they explained the same exact thing.
yeah,
it's something that we need to be able to talk about, and put out there for other veterans to talk about. So thank you for talking about it in the first place. Because not everybody really wants to or can, but that the conversation needs to happen. And this is the first step.
Yes, so the candidates, that was the idea, but then I was like, we need something that represents us as veterans that consume cannabis medically, recreationally, or just pretty much um, defend the idea that cannabis has healing properties and healing benefits. There's a lot of us that are not, don't have scientific degrees, or we're not medical doctors, but we know it helps us.
Yeah.
And throughout the time now, we have medical doctors saying, yeah, cannabis is good for veterans. So for me, it's good for traumatic brain injuries. And it helps a lot with my nerve pain. It alleviates, chronic pain.
Because not just the injuries that with it, there's training injuries that go in with it too. We rucked a lot back then. We rucked a lot of weight, and I'm sure you went through the same thing.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I was a combat engineer, but I was also a bridge crew member, and we built bridges for the infantry and pretty much everybody. So all those parts were extremely heavy,
And if you guys don't know, if you've seen the movies, those big floating things that the military goes across, that's what he's talking about. They used to throw those out there. And so if you guys aren't aware, for the people who aren't military savvy, that's what he's talking about. And they're not easy. Yeah.
Oh yes. And then my first duty station was in South Korea. So South Korea gets really, really, really cold.
Yeah.
So I was hit with a cold weather injury,
Mm-hmm.
hypothermia, and
Oh
stuff like
wow, yeah.
that. So, you know, with the time, the body, it takes its, the military takes its toll
Yeah.
on the body, and
Quickly.
we get a lot of aches and pains. And for me, being in South Korea, also, I got sick from my stomach,
Mm-hmm.
so I cannot take pills.
Yeah.
It makes me like it irritates my stomach. It makes me very ill.
Yeah.
So I'm very sensitive, and and when the VA is constantly giving you pills for every single thing you have, um, sometimes that's not the option.
Yeah.
It's not optional. So cannabis has many forms now.
Mm-hmm.
It can be consumed, burning it,
Mm-hmm.
uh, candies, gummies.
And especially the time that you served, the VA was really on a, just throw pills at it kind of kick, just fix it with the pills, fix it with the bottle.
Yes.
That's kind of like, essentially what we were told. Because even when I was in the Army, when I was starting to deal with PTSD, I was an interrogator. So, I had a top secret clearance, and they told me that they would have to take my clearance if they found out I had PTSD. So at the time, the military wasn't helping us at all. So I can only imagine how it was back in 2002 when PTSD was something that wasn't even really fathomed. I think they even still called it, shell shock back then from like World War II,
Yeah, man. I
Yeah.
mean, it took like about probably like 9 years for the VA to catch up on traumatic brain injuries.
Yeah.
You know,
That's true. Yeah, that's true too.
I was one of the first one in El Paso, Texas, to get a functional MRI because the thing is like there's a lot of veterans that seem functional, but there's a lot of hidden injuries
Yeah.
that people cannot see. Like for me, I stutter because of traumatic brain injuries,
Yeah.
and if someone looks at me, sometimes they're like, "He's perfectly normal,"
Yeah.
but in reality, the true story is that I got TVI, I got back injuries, I
Yeah,
got
that one.
major depression disorders. I have um, knee problems. It's a cocktail, a combination of a lot of stuff. And now, how the VA agree on the burn pit benefits
Yeah.
and all that
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, I signed up for that.
I
Yeah.
mean, come on. We were burning all kinds of chemicals and materials
Yeah.
and organic and all kinds of stuff,
Yeah. Hard
Who
drives. We even
knows?
burnt hard drives a couple times, like I'm sure that's not good for you.
Oh no, tires
Yeah,
and
tires, yeah, that was common.
JPA,
Yeah.
hey, that was the igniter. So and then
And then the particles in the air in the area where we're at was like the worst in the country because I was over in I was at Cobb Spiker, so over in Saladin
okay.
is where I was, near Tikrit. Yeah. So yeah, like the particles in there, I guess, were terrible. Like because they would just burn oil, from the wells. And I remember riding in the chopper, one time and seeing it down there. And my dad told me about it because my dad was in the Gulf.
Okay.
And so he told me about the pits. And
Hey, be careful, son.
yeah, you're gonna see these pits. And I was like, what are you talking about? And we fly through Iraq and we're going over to Kirkuk. And I was like, oh, he wasn't lying. This is just burning the wells.
Yeah, I mean, there's no regulations for anything, man.
Yeah.
Like in my case, I was near Al Qaim,
Mm-hmm.
and near Al Qaim, there's a concrete factory or a cement factory. That thing was fuming every single day,
Yeah.
24 hours a day,
Yeah.
24/7.
Yeah.
So with that plus the burn pits, you have a cocktail of a lot of stuff. So cannabis, in my medical experience, it makes me functional.
Yeah.
You know, there's other vets that have other things, but in my opinion, it makes me functional. I know there's a lot of other vets that also choose medical cannabis because of the same reasons.
Yeah.
You know, they can just deal with life.
Yeah.
And don't have to go through a lot of pain.
Yeah.
You know, and just be social. Because sometimes when you have mental illnesses, you want to be away from people.
Yeah.
Like in my case, it's really hard to be in large crowds, man.
Oh yeah, I get you on that one.
You know.
Yeah.
But then with this thing, that was one of the things, like one of my fears, because for 2 years, I had like CannaVets just hidden from the world, man.
Yeah.
And you know, until one day I gave a patch to a bud tender, and he was like, "Oh, that's a cool patch, man. You know, what's the story behind CannaVets? I'm a combat veteran, you know, and then I can explain it if you want.
Of course, yeah. That's what we're here for.
So the patch has, if you guys can see it, it has 5 sores, and combined they make a cannabis leaf.
Yeah, yeah.
Each sore represents a branch of the military. You know, Army.
Is that Army right there?
Exactly. You control the ground, man. You know, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps, Coast Guard.
Yeah.
At the time when we came out with this, the Space Force wasn't a thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know,
so you're gonna have to update it at some point.
Yeah, at some point it's gonna have to grow, and have the 6 sword, and that'll be the Space Force, and then the purple circle. This represents the healing process that we have to go through as veterans to heal from all kinds of traumas. You know, like I mentioned, battle wounds, battle traumas, PTSD, traumatic brain injuries, sexual traumas, you name it.
Mhm.
You know, the I got your 6, that's a military thing, a veteran thing. That means I got your back.
Yeah.
That's a veteran. You know, you can come and talk to me, and I can understand what you're coming from, you know, and I can relate with you and give you positive advice, you know, because there's a lot of veterans committing suicide nowadays, and we don't want that. We don't need that, you know. You just gotta talk to somebody, you know. It could be another veteran, it can be a family member, it can be a brother, sister, uncle, grandpa.
Yeah.
You know, just talk to somebody.
Yeah. And reach out. You guys can even reach out to me. You know, I'm on there all the time. So if any vets are on there, you guys just need to talk, hit me up. I'm not afraid to talk to you guys too.
Yeah,
so,
yeah,
man. There's an open invite.
And then the CannaVets, the lettering. You know how in the military we stenciled everything.
God,
we
I hated that so
everything.
much. Yeah.
You know, rucksacks, everything.
I still have a bunch of A-bags, dude, that have everything on there. 25th ID, my last 4, you know, the whole 9 yards.
Even the stencil, right?
Yeah, all stenciled. Yeah, all stencil sprayed, all that whole 9 yards. Yeah.
And so, you know, that's the idea behind it. And then we have 2 red stars.
Mm-hmm.
The red stars, it symbolizes the blood we shed in combat, so people can consume cannabis freely, you know, in the United States, where it's legal.
Yeah.
You know, because we're still fighting, but you know, now there's a lot more citizens that can consume cannabis, and they don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
But me, I live in a state like Texas, El Paso. You know, we have Sunland Park right there, and then El Paso.
Yeah.
2 different cities that are pretty much connected to each other. And there's veterans that go to El Paso, VA.
Yeah, I have to go there all the time.
You know, and from cruises. So if you gotta get to El Paso, And then if you forget your medicine or in your car, automatically you become a criminal
Yeah.
over a plan and your medicine that you can legally consume in New Mexico.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
And
come
it's happened.
on.
It happens to people all the time, like accidentally forgetting and trying to go through the gate. And, most of the time, they usually get away with it. But if you get caught, oh God, it's bad because,
Yeah,
military
man.
installations have their own laws. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not like regular laws.
And that's something that needs to be, uh, looked at
Yeah.
because, like you say, it's happening.
Yeah.
And it happens all the time. The 54 highway became the Korean Veteran Memorial Highway.
Yeah.
I'm a Korean veteran. Um, I didn't go to the Korean War, but I served in Korea
Yeah.
for 2 years,
Yeah.
and
If you guys don't know, North and South Korea are actually technically still at war. A little
Yes.
tidbit of history for you guys. Yeah, they're technically still at war. Sorry, continue.
So all these vets that get in the highway, and then all of a sudden, like, hey, I'm in New Mexico in Salem Park or Las Cruces,
Mhm.
and everything is okay, but then over there, I cross the line, the state line, I'm a criminal.
Yeah, exactly. The moment that you do that, and I tell people that all the time, especially my vets. I'm like, don't be taking pens down there. That is a felony.
Yeah.
Like I know people love pens because they're easy.
You can get
whatever,
your life
but-
ruined
Yeah.
over, like a lot of veterans with traumatic brain injuries forget a lot of things.
Yeah.
Or you just maybe caught up in the moment and boom,
Yeah.
without a bad intention or any intention to harm anybody, you can ruin your life over a decision that, come on, man, it's 100 years old.
Yeah. Yeah.
And El Paso was the first city to legalize cannabis,
Mhm.
and I believe, that needs to end there. We need to fix that. We need to fix history.
Yeah.
And we moved on, and that's also the like I said, with the CannaVets story, it's a story of resiliency. Like a veteran from El Paso, Texas, that has to go through all these things, just to be able to stay alive. See what I'm saying? To
Yeah.
be able to be functional, to be able to carry on with with a family, have a lovely wife, a daughter and a son. They're very active and we are very functional, and we're part of the society, and there's a lot of stigmas with veterans that, oh, these guys are crazy, they cannot behave well, or
They don't take yelling well when you shouldn't be yelling at anybody.
yeah, and that I think there's some stigma there, and we need, we're changing that, and as things progress and are moving forward, I thank God, that cannabis became legal in New Mexico, because I know there's other veterans out there that don't have the same possibilities.
Yeah, like the veterans in Texas, I really feel for them. They come over here all the time. I talk to them all the time. They're like if I this and this and this, I should just move to here to New Mexico. It seems a little more veteran friendly because New Mexico actually offers a lot of great benefits for disabled veterans. You don't pay if you're 100% disabled. You don't pay property tax. You don't pay vehicle tax. So you get like the free tag. You get free hunting and fishing for
Awesome.
life. Yeah, that includes a deer tag. Every year, and so there's a lot of good benefits, for being a disabled veteran in New Mexico, on top of legal cannabis, and the VA acknowledges that there are states that have legal cannabis, and New Mexico is one of them, so they don't mess with you on that either.
Plus, New Mexico has outstanding cannabis.
Yeah, our weed's getting better and better all the time. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it is extremely good.
Yeah.
Has a lot of healing properties. New Mexican, cannabis is one of the best in the nation.
Yeah.
And it's great to have it, available right next door.
Yeah.
A lot of people struggle, man, in other states, and they have to go through the same issues, and maybe there might be on a state in the East Coast or West Coast that is next to another state that is illegal, and they have to cross those same state lines.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a lot of cities like El Paso, Sunland Park, and Las Cruces area, but I'm pretty sure it's gotta be, man.
Yeah, because I mean, there's even veterans that live in Mexico now. Like they live on that side and come back and forth. So I mean, it's a tri thing going on. It's a country in two different states that are kind of all intertwined together. So it is very something unique that you don't see everywhere around the nation. Because you have cities like Kansas City, that's like Missouri and Kansas, but they're in the middle of the country, so they don't really border another nation like we do over here. Where certain veterans are going to live there as well, because I've had a couple of friends that went off to move to Mexico, like, I got my 100%, I'm going to Mexico.
I'm going to the beach.
Yeah, I'm going to go be a bum on the beach in Mexico. Like, you have at it, buddy.
They have great cannabis there, too.
Yeah, I was like, you have at it, dude. Go have fun, whatever. So.
Yeah, but it's also, Mexico has its way of life, and well, you and I were Mexican Americans,
Yeah.
and we have that benefit of but there's other veterans that maybe they don't speak Spanish, man, or they don't have that option, or they don't know, maybe they don't understand the culture. You'll get used to it really quick.
Yeah, just like more like, especially being a veteran, you tend to just get used to your area really, really fast. And like I've noticed that when I was in the military, we would go somewhere new, and we would adapt quickly. It's just like strangers were now your friends. Like these complete strangers.
Yeah,
that
but you can end up in a state or a place that you don't know nothing about and get caught up. There's been a lot of stories with veterans that get detained for not knowing. Let's just say in El Paso, just crossing with a weapon.
Yeah, you didn't really like. Oh, my bad.
No, because there's in the freeway there's an exit that goes to Juarez. And if you're not from the area, and it's right next to Fort Bliss, Texas. So if you're not from the area, you're not familiar, you can end up in Juarez.
Not even know it, yeah.
And there's been cases that soldiers have been, and ended up in jail because they had a firearm, but they were lost.
Yeah.
So is that easy? Not knowing your laws, not knowing this and that.
And when I was younger, just kind of learning to drive, I actually got lost down there and got to the border. But this is before Juarez got crazy. So I just told the guys, hey, I got lost. I just need to turn back around. They just let me turn around and go back. These days that could be different.
Yeah, it can be different.
Yeah, it depends on the agent.
I love Mexico, and it's a beautiful country. But also the cannabis laws, they're still like.
Yeah, they're still figuring it out. They're trying to legalize it. It's supposed to be legal now, but they're dragging their feet. And they're trying to figure it out because the country Supreme Court went down and said that cannabis being illegal in Mexico is against the Constitution of Mexico. And now they're still kind of fighting with the government on trying to get it legal. Trying to get something set up and going. So I don't know what's going on over there now.
I was like, you know what? I think New Mexico is way more.
Yeah, I mean, we're called new for a reason.
It's way more advanced with cannabis laws.
Yeah.
So it's just, and then like I said, New Mexico has great cannabis.
Yeah. We've been at it for a while now. I think us opening the licenses up once we went adult use really helped with that because we only had like 34 producers in the whole state when we were medical. And at one point we had like 80,000 patients. Before we went adult use, and then of course it started to dip, as that went on, and still does to this day. But yeah, now the cannabis is getting better. it's tasting better and everything like that. And speaking of, do you guys plan on doing anything like farm wise, for like the CannaVets, yourselves?
Oof, that's a great question, man. Because we wanna in the future collaborate.
Hmm.
Put the CannaVets brand because our brand is awareness by design. We
Yeah.
want to create awareness by design.
Just the patch itself, yeah.
We started with the patch,
Yeah.
but in the future we want to do other things that create awareness, and maybe if someone or a veteran is having a bad thought, and then they can see that little piece of hope. Hey, don't do it, man. Like,
Yeah.
just go get uh, some cannabis flower, and then everything will be okay, or other cannabis medicine of your choice, and it'll be okay.
Yeah.
So we want to create that type of awareness, or talk to someone else, or reach
Yeah,
to
talk.
another buddy.
Yeah, yeah. Reach out to someone who's knows what you're going through, because like combat veterans, we understand it because we
And
go through it.
yeah, there's been some companies that they like the idea. They want to support veterans
True.
because they know that we struggle and still going through some issues with with the law, and that I think that's a bad thing because we shouldn't be dealing with bad laws. I mean, I encourage our lawmakers to think about the harm a bad law or a decision can have on veterans,
Yeah.
like just like what we talked. You cross a state line and you are a criminal and you can
Yeah.
go to jail for I don't know how many years of your
Depending on the
life.
state, yeah, it
But
depends on the state.
but people like you that are always there and you know raising your voice and voicing your opinions with our lawmakers at city halls, telling them, hey, this is good. This might not work. This can work.
Yeah.
For veterans, we 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 want to help them this way or open the conversations
Yeah.
like you're doing it right now. Thank you for inviting me to your show, man.
I mean, thank you for
I
coming. I mean,
mean,
it's been a great conversation.
yeah, and those opportunities that are being created to start those conversations are
Yeah.
wonderful and are happening here in New Mexico.
Yeah.
You know,
Starting here. Yeah, and that's great. And I'm glad that a group like you. So your group in general, what's your guys' mission, I guess, and your end goal, really, what you guys are trying to do?
well, we want to create awareness, and also we want to create a brand that is there for combat veterans or just cannabis veterans in in all the extent of the word, because there's people that are never been in the military, but they've been consuming cannabis for a long time, so that can be a veteran as well. um, for the brand, we want to start small, man. We want to create a need for the awareness of veterans' involvement in the cannabis industry.
Yeah.
And then from there, who knows what it happens? I don't know if there's another veteran that's, on the other side that maybe has the same story, is gonna tell another veteran, hey man, you know what, there's veterans out there that are doing this, and it grows to something bigger.
Yeah.
Like I said, some of the dispensaries, they they love supporting veterans, and it's like, hey man, we want to take you on board. Okay, I wasn't ready for that conversation because I'm not on that side of the industry. See what I'm saying? So, but I know that is something good because they say there's a lot of veterans that you know go to their dispensaries, and one of the things that I told them, hey, if I'll support with the CannaVets brand if you guys support veterans, if you guys give them discounts, if you guys treat them correctly, with the right you know customer, because some of us, sometimes we speak loud, man.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. People know me.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm really
exactly.
loud.
So if you're not familiar with veterans, some of these bartenders, they take it wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, it happened to me in the past because when
I pulled out my military ID before, and they're like, "Oh my God, the feds!" I'm like, "That says disabled veteran."
yeah. There's a lot. Like, it happened to me in the past that they think like I'm like law enforcement. I'm like,
yeah,
no, man. Like,
yeah. I'm like, dude, it says it right there, disabled veteran.
so yeah, and there's a lot of good folks out there that are doing amazing things for veterans, man.
Yeah.
A lot of these growers and dispensaries and activists, and the topic is there. So we want to work with the industry.
Okay.
And hopefully one day the cannabis brand, it represents that awareness for veterans, that we don't want any more pills, we don't want any more stigmas, we don't want to go through all these troubles, just to consume medical cannabis and heal ourselves.
Yeah.
However we choose to heal ourselves.
Yeah.
And that's what the brand it's all about.
Nice. And so it's a brand for vets by vets, and then it's an ever evolving thing, just like the military. So
exactly.
Yeah. Something that we're used to. Yeah.
We started with the patch. Now, like, and I'm glad we're here and in person. That I wanna present you with a name tag. CannaVets, and also we have a name tag for Shat, so you can wear it proudly.
All right, thank you. Appreciate that. I think there's a couple of hats I can slap that on. Yeah, just like that. Yeah.
We use that swag, man. We use that military swag that veterans understand.
I haven't worn them like this in a long time. Branch CannaVets. Well, thank you. I appreciate this. This is a great treat. I literally haven't had one of these made since I was in the military, so this is actually really cool to have my full name on here.
Now you can have first name and last name.
Yeah. I'm not going to forget I have a full first name now.
That's because I was thinking about it. I was like, should I just get the last name? I was like, no. He's a civilian now.
I appreciate that. No, it reminds me I'm a civilian. So if you guys don't know, these are what goes on our uniforms. This one right here is usually what branch you are, and this is your name, and it's usually just your last name. And in the Army at the time, we had one that went in the back of the hat too. And so he has, a similar hat with that. And I appreciate that. This is really cool. And they're Velcro, just like they were when I was in.
Yes, just same gear, man. We were every day, just the basic bed stuff,
Yeah. No, I love
that
this.
we love, and that's what we want to start doing, creating small things that can change, that can turn into big changes, positive changes,
No, and this is a cool, small, big step, like something like this, really gives other veterans that, sense of belonging, because that's something that we lack when we get out,
exactly.
The sense of belonging, the sense of camaraderie. But, this gives us the hope and the know that it's still there. And so it exists within all veterans. So.
And then we were pushing the subject, guys. We're, like I said, even though I'm afraid of large crowds, someone said, hey, you need to tell your story. You need to be out there. You need to be engaging with with the communities, and then I met you, and then I met some other veterans on that we have similar stories, with cannabis, PTSD, and TVIs, and but we want to be productive. We want to still be part of society,
Yeah.
because we have our issues, medical issues, but we also like we want to be involved in the community,
Yeah.
and also participating in events, but sometimes we don't know how to do it, man.
Yeah.
Or it's difficult to start a conversation, or and I see more veterans advocating for their rights, and more veterans being engaged in the conversation of medical cannabis in
Yeah.
the future. So, um, I just want to be part of it, and help with a little bit of what I can do, because sometimes I get frustrated. Nowadays everything's in the computer, man.
Yeah.
I have a traumatic brain injury, so like for me, it's really hard to stay in front of a screen.
Yeah.
Just to send an email is a monumental task force.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? And just you know when I see these, and I see the hope that it brings me to support other veterans, and to create something that is a voice for the veterans in a positive way. To me, that right there, it's um, very rewarding. Like it's positive. It's a
Yeah.
positive thing that I can say I'm, being part of society with this small stuff, but maybe it can help many more. Just kill the stigmas, stop the stereotypes of veterans, using cannabis as medicines.
Yeah.
We're not bad people, man.
No. Like
We
everybody
just
else.
yeah.
Yeah.
We just want to be involved, and create better lifestyles for ourselves.
Hmm. Yeah, because I mean, after we get out, we just want a normal life. We were forced into this lifestyle, and some of us 20+ years. That's I had hats off to you, gents. To my homies that are still in the military, hats off to you guys.
Yeah,
They're going to be pushing 20. We get out, we just want a normal life. They don't teach you that when you're in the military. They just teach you one way, and that's the military way: fight, 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 fight. When you get out, they don't teach you how to be civilian again. They don't teach you that, hey, you probably shouldn't cuss that much, because civilians don't really fucking like that. So they don't tell you that.
No,
And
I still have a problem with that
all the time. Yeah, yeah. My mom hates it.
My wife hates it, man.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, you're not in the military no more. You're trying to it's like, but it's because sometimes I can't hear myself, so
Yeah.
like gotta speak up, and
Yeah.
people sometimes take it the wrong way,
Yeah.
and that it's a learning process. Like you
Yeah.
say, hey, man.
Yeah, it is. It's a whole learning process. Well, I appreciate the conversation, man. I wish we could talk more about vets, but we have to move on to the next stuff. And thank you so much for sharing this with me. I want to have you on again sometime, so that way we can get an update whenever you guys are doing something new, something fresh.
Cool.
Maybe we can have this given away at a dispensary or something. Name tags. That's cool as shit. I
Yeah,
love that.
sure.
Yeah, that's cool. I fucking love that. I'd love to see veterans be supported, even something simple as this. That's cool.
I hope in the future we can have these things in all the dispensaries.
Mm-hmm.
But the true story is that when I went to the bank to try to get a business bank account to sell these items, They told me no, because it's related to cannabis. And I'm like, this is a PVC patch.
Yeah.
This is clothing.
Yeah.
This is a name tag.
Yeah.
But, some of these people, they still see it as the actual plant. Like,
Yeah.
you're going to harm somebody.
Yeah.
Like,
and everybody runs into the issue with the name cannabis in it. I try to tell people, don't name your business cannabis anything, weed anything, because the banks will just shun you away faster than anything. Yeah,
it's crazy.
It's
so
ridiculous.
I'm dealing with that, Paso, but we're gonna get it. We're gonna get our bank account, and we're gonna move, things forward, so we can do everything the right way, man. Because with cannabis and everything involved with just the canna work, everything has to be done the right way.
Definitely.
And as a veteran, that's how I'll prefer to do it, because I serve my country, I love my country, I rather do things the right way, and those barriers that we have to go through, they're just obstacles that we are trained to overcome.
Yeah, like the bureaucratic system of the government. Oh, buddy, you will test my hurry up and wait skills, and I will beat you every time.
so like I said, yeah, man, CannaVets is a story of resiliency.
Yeah,
and it's a story of a lot of us veterans are using medical cannabis just to survive and to heal.
Yeah. Well, where can the vets find you online? Instagram, website, maybe?
Facebook, we're under CannaVets. You'll find the CannaVets logo.
Okay.
And then Instagram, we have canna.vets.
Okay.
We have the logo there. We are progressing into more technology, man. I grew up with Facebook.
Yeah.
I mean, MySpace.
Yeah. I remember MySpace. Yeah, I was in high school for that one.
MySpace, High Five. I met my
High Five. Wow.
When I met my wife, I was in Iraq.
Yeah.
And at that time we just barely got the internet and the modems. And there was High Five.
Yeah.
So that's how we met, and then that's our crazy love story. I came back from Iraq. He's been, putting up with all of my, veteran issues and stuff like that. So we've been married for 15 years now, and it's a lovely love story. Now that we're in Valentine's Day, love you, baby. Thank you for putting up with all my craziness and stuff.
Thanks for letting him hang out on Valentine's Day.
Right. So, yeah, man.
Cool. Well, I appreciate it.
Anytime.
And I can't wait to have you on again. And we'll continue the conversation, but we'll talk about the New Mexico Legis update. I can talk about my veterans all day. So yeah. But anyway, thank you again. CannaVets, and thank you for the gift. This was amazing.
Thank you, Shat.
Heck yeah, thank you. So we're gonna go on and talk about the New Mexico Legis update. You guys knew that was going to be coming. So a few things happened within the last week. A few things didn't happen within the last week. So I'll start with SB6. So SB6 is the Cannabis Changes Bill. And there's another one that's the sister one, and we'll talk about that too, HB 128. So it's weird what happened. So the past week it went through the House committees, and it finally went to the House floor. And once it got to the House floor, I didn't even know it passed the House floor. This is how fast it happened. I missed it. It happened pretty much during lunch. They heard the bill, I guess added a couple amendments, and then it was done. And for some reason, no one told me that there was amendments added to it. And so I thought it was done. I was like, okay, cool, it should be headed to the governor's desk. No, since there was amendments added to it, it headed to the Senate, back to the Senate floor.
There's always got to be last minute.
There's always last minute things. So it's like, oh yeah, fuck, I forgot. If it has this freaking amendments, it has to go back to the Senate floor so they can confirm the stupid amendments. I was like, damn it. So this morning, at the time of recording, it is Wednesday. This is going to come out on Thursday. So when you guys watch this, it'll be yesterday. So today, this morning, I was told that they were hearing the bill on the Senate floor, and I was so confused. One, I'm trying to get the show ready. Two, I'm trying to work out and also deal with all this other stuff. So I'm like all over the place. And it passes the Senate floor again. Unfortunately, they keep bringing up the damn drive-thrus as an issue. And that's one thing that worries me because we fought really hard. The past couple of weeks I was in Santa Fe and everything.
Yeah.
We were fighting the drive-through thing, and they obviously aren't very happy that we got that taken out because they are still talking about it. And to be honest, they're probably still going to talk about it next year when we go into a 60-day session. So what this is telling us is that next year we're going to have to make sure that we're on it and make sure that we have our arguments ready, because they're going to be coming with some weird arguments probably, or maybe some really good studies. I have no clue. We got to come with our own, and we got to keep proving them wrong, because right now they don't have any data to back this up. Everything that they're saying is based off of fear and based off of what they did with alcohol. And they're basing cannabis and alcohol and they're comparing them to the same thing when they're not. They're two total different things, totally on a different spectrum. Yeah. If you're addicted to alcohol, you can die cold, quitting cold turkey. Like you don't do that with cannabis. You can get lucky and not die, but
you drink water with cannabis.
Yeah, exactly. I drink a lot of water. Yeah, especially when you smoke. Like, I need water. Yeah, I need a water, man. Yeah, sweet. It's like you're dying. You need water. Sometimes you get cotton mouth. So yeah, there's a lot of stigma that still is at our legislature, and there's a lot of misinformation at our legislature too that we're going to have to debunk. One of the big ones is, of course, they think that the inebriated driving and wrecks are going to go up because we have drive-throughs. When there's recent studies from COVID, when the states started doing emergency rules and allowing drive-throughs for alcohol and stuff, well, they did studies and found out that it didn't increase anything. Like it stayed the same. And so that's not even going to be a good argument to start with. So that's one way that we can combat that. And I'm kind of afraid that they're going to come next year with either a bill or an amendment on the floor and try to remove the drive-throughs. They keep touting that it took them 10 years to remove the alcohol ones, and so they're going to keep coming at us every year until they
has traffic incidents increased in, let's say, in the Sunland Park area?
No. And actually
at the casino or with all those drive-throughs, have we seen? I mean, I haven't seen any vehicle accidents, and there's high traffic. So.
And actually, they had the Sunland Park mayor in one of the committees I happened to attend in Santa Fe, and I believe they asked him if they had any issues, and he was like, "No, we haven't had any issues."
Yeah, everything's been fine. Yeah. I think I see the total opposite.
Yeah,
traffic is flowing really.
Yeah, and what I think is they expect it and they want it to be like alcohol and want it to be as bad as alcohol, so that way they can be, haha, I was right. It's going to be just like alcohol. We need to treat it just like this. But unfortunately, that's not what's happening. The total opposite is happening. It's a little safer. And to be honest, the drive-through places like here in town in Cruces, there's a 24-hour one, and the neighborhood people that live there actually thanked the people that work there, because they're saying it's actually safer now that you guys are opened here and you're here 24 hours. Like, less homeless people are hanging out. My house isn't getting messed with. Due to you guys being here and taking over this abandoned building, my neighborhood is more safe. Thank you.
Cannabis is killing stigmas every time.
Yeah.
And that's a fact.
Yeah, 100%. It is. And, the only way we're going to kill the stigma on it is just normalizing it, putting ourselves out there. Senator Souls even wants to see cannabis at the Roundhouse next year. Well, more or less at the Capitol. There's always drinks and stuff, afterwards. And he wants to see like a cannabis gift basket, because sometimes the politicians will get gift baskets from local businesses. And he was like, I didn't see one cannabis product in there. He's where are you? Where are you guys at? And so even our lawmakers are asking for, for some cannabis, guys. So, even they want it. So, the stigma is only going to die if we do that. And he agrees. He told me, he said, the only way we're going to kill it is if we make it normal. He's like, I want to see cannabis. I want to see more of it. And I was like, yeah, we'll get you guys even some bomb and maybe some additional CBD on top of it, some mixtures. And he's like, yeah, that sounds great. So,
I just came from Las Vegas, man, and over there, it was normal.
Yeah.
To walk with and smoke on the street with cannabis.
Yeah.
I was right next to a cop, and he didn't mind at all. Nothing. Yeah. And I was like, wow, it actually feels free.
Yeah.
Freedom.
Yeah.
And that's how it should be, And politicians, I think, and I want to believe that they want freedom for us.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and I hope, and and the laws that we have in New Mexico, when based around cannabis now, I feel like is one of the better ones in the nation. Because we're not as strict. Shit, you can keep your whole harvest. Like from your home grows.
There's a
Not
lot
many
of good
states allow that.
politicians also that are
Yeah.
sticking up for cannabis.
Yeah, shout out to Senator Hamlin. She stuck her neck out for us. Oh my God, thank you so much. I mean, she was on the floor, and she uses cannabis herself. She actually grows cannabis. I mean, how many people can say I talk about growing weed with my senator? Like, I don't know how many people
Senator,
can say that.
we can have a better conversation.
Yeah, I've talked about growing weed with her all the time.
On board.
Yeah. I love talking weed with her. It's great. She's a great senator. I love her. So it was great to see her defend the industry because she uses the drive-throughs too. She was like, I'm not gonna go through the drive-through and pop the gummy in my mouth as soon as I leave. She's like, I want to go home and get comfy.
Right.
And then do it when I get there. And and I agree because like you don't want to like
privacy, man.
Yeah, because it's not like alcohol, not at all. Like when people drink too much alcohol, they kind of get dumb. We smoke too much cannabis, you kind of get antisocial and want to go to sleep. And like that's kind of like the opposite what happens with alcohol.
Tired of everybody.
Yeah, it's like guys, I need to go home. I'm out of here. I'll see y'all later. I'm gonna go get my jammies. And so yeah, it's a total different thing. So that's SB6. That's pretty much everything that happened with it. This will now head to the governor's desk for signature. The major changes in this are going to be essentially some cleaning up some languages that was confusing or there was just redundancy in the bill. The big change that came from this was CCD gets more power now. Now they can shut down places that aren't doing it right and following the law. Out-of-state cannabis. Because before they weren't even allowed to take plants if they're found like an illegal grow. Like say they have an establishment and they don't have a grow license and they have like 1,000 plants, they couldn't take those plants. And so hopefully now this fixes that. And also I believe it fixes...
because it fixes the market, man.
We don't need that in our market. Yeah, we don't need that in our market. We don't need the out-of-state crap, coming in and, fucking our laws up and our weed up and our, our whole industry. Because a lot of people just aren't doing it right. And those people don't need to be in the industry. They don't need to be here. And this allows them to do that and to take them out of the industry. So that's pretty much the bulk of it. The last part about it, I think in this one that they had the background checks because for some reason in the language in the original bill, we weren't able to do federal background checks because of the language in the bill. It wasn't matching the federal. Okay. And so they worked with the federal government this time and made sure that the law is works, and they even sent them the language to make sure, can you guys do this? And so they gave them the thumbs up and said, yeah, that's good. So I think that one was in this bill. The reason why I say think, guys, because there's been so many bills, and then we have the sister bill, HB 128, and that's what I'll talk about next. This one is the sister bill to SB 6. The only difference was this one had the increase for plant counts. However, it was taken out because the CCD wants to work with the industry and figure out exactly what we want this year. So this is our chance to speak up to the CCD and tell them how many plants exactly we need instead of telling people like me who can't do anything. The only thing I can do is give them that information. So it's essentially, you're just skipping the middleman. So HB 128, that one, it's pretty much dead. It didn't really go anywhere, and I believe that's because SB 6 was just on a faster pace than this one was. If SB 6 was doomed to die, then we would probably see HB 128 probably get pushed a little bit more. And I think another thing was since the plants got taken out of this one, it was kind of moot, but they kind of mirrored each other exactly after that point, so it didn't really make sense. I say they're sister bills because they did have some slight differences in them. So that's what happened with that one. SB 99, now this one breaks my heart. This one died in the Finance Committee and never had its day to be heard. For whatever reason, the senator, the chair, decided not to have it heard. Now, this one would have removed the incremental tax in New Mexico. If you guys don't know, in July, our taxes are about to increase by 1%. And it's going to increase 1% every year after that till we get to, I believe, 26 or 28%. And I believe it's 26. But the reason why right now it's at 20% because it is a 12% tax for cannabis itself out the door. But then you have to add the local government tax. Now, keep in mind, this is a bad thing because we have federal decriminalization or rescheduling coming, meaning we're going to get federally taxed on cannabis here soon. So that 20% is probably going to go up to 24%. Now, 25% next year, 26% already. Now you see where I'm going with this. This bill would have removed that and kept it at 12% or 20% until next year, the 60-day session, we can figure something out. Because we're gonna have to really figure that out.
Something needs to be, done quickly, man.
Yeah.
Because, for example, veterans monthly average, I consume around $900 worth of cannabis medicine.
Yeah.
And that's about to go up, man.
Yeah, it is.
That's going to be.
There's a reason why I grow. Yeah.
I don't grow. I'm not a grower. I don't know. I don't, in Texas. I don't want to mess with it.
I don't blame you in Texas. That I don't blame
have
you.
those choices.
You don't have that luxury, of course, yeah. Which is unfortunate.
And it's going to get to a point where, you know what? Oh, man, I'm going to be crying at the VA. Hey, yeah. I need for you guys to pay for my medicine.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to have the money to buy cannabis, and just medicate with it.
Yeah, because, coming up soon, this 20% is going to increase really quickly because, federal laws are changing. And that means that we'll have to pay a federal tax. And that's the reason why I wanted this bill to pass so bad. And I was pushing for it. I was trying to get you guys to push for it too. But unfortunately, we failed at that mission. We got the drive-thrus to stay, but we kind of sacrificed the tax thing. However, that we still have next year to fix that. But that doesn't change that this year it's going to go up that 1%. And whenever they decriminalize it, reschedule it, whatever they decide to do, the talks have been about a 4% tax federally for few years now. It could be less or more. I'm just throwing that number out there because it's been a number that they liked for so long.
So with that 1 year, it encourage everybody to call your lawmakers.
Yep. Call your legislators. There's a reason why we serve, so you guys can do this.
Exactly. Yeah. Call them. Do what you got to do.
Yeah, use your rights, use your voice. You're allowed to do that, and that's the way our government works. And actually, they want us there. They were thanking us for being there. Like, thank you guys for showing up. We appreciate that. Even if they disagreed with us, they thanked us for being there. Like, we appreciate you guys being here. Your input means a lot. And, in the end, sometimes you kind of feel like it doesn't mean dick because they didn't listen to you anyway. But, at the end, they still appreciate being there.
It means a lot because...
No, it does.
Me being from El Paso, Texas, I came to City Hall here in Las Cruces. I felt welcome.
Our city hall's great.
By the city reps, the police officers, the media.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good feeling.
Yeah, it's cool. It feels very transparent, and what they're doing in the whole process. Now, of course, some people have, issues with what's going on, the way things are ran, and, that's everyone's opinion. But, for cannabis in particular, they've been very amazing. The police officers will come in and explain, this is the issues we have, and so far we haven't had issues with cannabis.
Talk about it in El Paso, they didn't even open the doors.
Yeah, that's crazy.
We gotta be shouting every year, with our friend Cole.
Yeah.
Supporting him, man. Thanks for supporting all the time. But over here, the doors are open, man, and that helps a lot because it makes someone feel accepted.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. And we're glad to have legal cannabis in New Mexico because it's just something that needed to happen because it's the right thing to do. It was dumb to put people into jail for this, in the state. But I digress. So let's talk about SB 99 a little bit more. This one did need to pass, but unfortunately it stalled out. We'll see what happens next year. But get ready for a tax increase this year, y'all. So it's going from the 20 total percent that you pay now to 21% probably in July. So we'll see what happens. I mean, maybe something happens along the way. I have no clue, but as of right now, that's what it's looking like. So moving on, that's all I have for the legislative update. Those are really the only three bills I really wanted to update y'all on. SB 6 being, the only one that passed out of all of them, which is great because there are some changes. However, unfortunately, we missed out with SB 99. Maybe we'll try next year. I know some of us are still learning the legislative process and how all this works. So it'd be great to see, a lot of you up in Santa Fe next year. I know the South was heavy up there this year.
How do you handle all that hard work, man?
I don't know.
How do you handle that?
What do you mean?
Because all these things sometimes is frustrating when it doesn't go the way that you guys are pushing for, and it's hard work to be going from one town to the next one to the next one, educating people and help them out and advocating for all this. How do you handle all that?
I have a great backing, a great team with me. Like with the town halls, Valerie Hubbard, Nicole Jordan, Tracy Martinez, and Priya Miramontes. So all four of those ladies were just monumental of making all of that work and making all of this possible. So I surround myself with great teams and great people that allow me to do what I do. I just wish that everybody would take a little bit more credit on what you do and not having me do it. I like thanking you, but I wish you guys would take a little bit credit more for yourselves. And you guys do a lot of good work, and the work that those ladies did this past year was just monumental. We created waves, and we created a system of collecting data for the whole industry, and that's going to be data that I think the state can use that'll benefit us in the end. And so I got to thank those ladies so much, because without them I wouldn't be able to do this at all. So shout out to you ladies, over at the industry session, even the people at the plug, they helped us out, at the end too. They were great, and they did the last meeting for us. And so, just great teams, great people, and now more people are wanting to advocate and get involved. And so that's making it even more easier. It's like, cool. You guys are motivated now. So it's starting to move along. But at the very beginning, dude, I don't know how I did it, because I was by myself.
and now you're there.
Yeah. Now it's just like, all right, cool. We got teams. Oh, thank God. That's all I'm thinking about.
Podcast and all that.
Yeah. Thank you, to Adam's Radio Group and Gino, the producer over here. He's what makes this podcast possible. I just come in and host and do the show. So like the great teams I surround myself with is what makes all of this possible. And I got to thank all of you.
I like it, because I'm there, and I listen to all these positive things, and it creates hope, man.
Yeah.
And I think that's what people like about it, and you're creating that momentum and that hope for a lot of us.
Yeah.
So I think you're gonna get to, hopefully very soon, to the number one show, man.
Hopefully, actually, if you guys didn't know, and I posted on my socials, Ask Chad Grassy Logic was put on the top 35 cannabis podcasts in the nation. So that was actually, I think, North America, actually the world, because there's a few places from around the world that were on there. So that was actually pretty cool. It was a pretty cool achievement to see that. So maybe I will see that. So we'll see. But my main goal is to educate you all and make sure that this New Mexico industry thrives. Of course, my veterans.
You know how they calling in New Mexico, Sunland Park, the Little Amsterdam?
Oh, it's Little Dubai.
I mean, it's getting recognition, No,
it is nationally. So I look at X or Twitter all the time for information on cannabis. Butthole of the internet, but best information for some reason. And on there all the time, if I search New Mexico cannabis, Sunland Park. Texans going to Sunland Park. Little town in New Mexico making waves in the industry. Anytime that someone brings up cannabis that's in the industry from another state, they bring up Sunland Park. Like, so what's up with the Sunland Park place? I'm like, oh, Little Dubai? I'm like, oh yeah, that place is blowing up, man. It's
yeah, and you know what? I encourage our Texas lawmakers to take note and
go visit. Yeah, go visit Sunland.
And look at the laws and try to find the middle ground, to because what happening, and the economy is booming, dispensaries are coming to Sunland Park like every day or every other week. You see a new
one. They follow me on Instagram all the time. Like, oh, another one.
Yeah, they have great prices, competition's good, right?
Yeah. And at the end of the day, it'll all level out. Unfortunately, not everybody can make it. That's just life, and that's the way business works. That's just economics. Unfortunately, there's going to be winners and losers, and at the end of the day, we'll have people with the best prices and best products. Hopefully, here at the end of the day. So we'll see what goes on from there, because Sunland Park is blowing up. So, but yeah, sorry guys, back on track. That was your legislative update with a little bit of extra at the end for you.
Veterans, we can get sidetracked.
Yeah, we can sidetrack real easy. So the last topic that we're going to talk about is actually Colorado's playing catch up, and I will actually explain to you guys what I mean. So as you guys know, Colorado legalized cannabis back in 2012, and adult sales in Colorado started in 2014. So we've been about 10 years in, a decade, and it looks like Colorado is starting to have their own stabilization issues. Now, of course, when you start stabilizing as a market, like I just said, people are going to lose. People are going to get out of the market, and when that happens, they want to blame something or everybody, or something that's not even the issue, or hey, let's close licenses, which saves nobody. And so
no.
that saves nobody. It's like there's a lot of people that want to close licenses, and I'm like,
No.
let's not do that, because that doesn't do anything. That just benefits the people that are here, and then what if you don't make it? Then you can't get back in if you have another opportunity. You kind of screwed yourself.
I think it all goes to innovation. Customer service.
Yes, exactly.
Doing great marketing.
Yeah.
Because different dispensaries have different strains. Like, for instance, my favorite strain is Skywalker OG. So I go where they have a Skywalker OG. She can be, in Santa Park, in Las Cruces, Albuquerque.
Santa Teresa.
Take a 4-hour drive.
Chaparral.
Just enjoy yourself. But people have that choice, and it's good to give people choice.
Yeah.
And that's going to create more innovation to the folks that are in the industry. Hey, let's do this, let's do that. It's going to create results.
Yeah.
So I think it's a positive thing.
No, it is. And, I unfortunately, Colorado's downfall is actually to our benefit. And, it's actually to a huge benefit, and I'll explain it. So when all the states started to legalize cannabis, most of them went a conservative route, a very conservative route, due to the fact that they were afraid of federal intervention. And that's fair, 100% fair, because we all know how bad that was prior to 2000 and even 2012. It was still pretty bad. So the fear was still very real. So there was a lot of things that other states did that New Mexico just hasn't done, and we just did the opposite of. And I kept telling people, we can't do that because we're totally different. We have a population density of 17. Like, you got to be shitting me. And so so Colorado has a population density of like 70 or 100 something. Like they have more than double our population. We have 2.1 million. They have like 5.7 million, almost 6 million people in their state. So, I mean, the population there is way higher. They have more money than us. They've always had more money than us. I mean, that's where the gold rush essentially started. The basketball team's called the Nuggets.
Before I joined the military, I lived in Colorado Springs.
Okay, yeah.
Right there, Security County, Colorado. Yeah. It's cold, man. I didn't like it.
I hate it. My dad's from Colorado, so I have a lot of family, my cousins and aunts, and actually my brother lives up there. So, yeah, I grew up between here and Colorado. So, I've experienced, their market and everything. But what they're experiencing is interesting. So they tried to add an equity kind of program thing, like the other states have tried to do, and miserably failed at. Because what ended up happening is they had these equities for, people of color, minorities, but they started getting taken advantage of by the bigger businesses. The bigger businesses were taking advantage of the fact that they didn't understand business. They didn't understand, how this was going to work. And they just came in and just vultured their businesses. And so now these people that thought they were going to they're going to have a great opportunity ended up not having shit. And so that was one thing that we tried to avoid in New Mexico, and that's actually why they made the licenses so cheap, is because that's pretty much our social equity program. Even though in the law we're supposed to have an actual social equity program, whatever, but haven't really seen it. It could be there. Show it to me if it's wrong. If I'm wrong, please send it to me. But personally, I haven't seen it. So one thing that Colorado did that's not helping them too is and California is guilty of this too. They allowed local jurisdictions to ban cannabis sales. And what that did is it only allows a small percentage of cities to sell cannabis. I believe it's 30% of cities in California sell cannabis in the first place. And I don't know the percentage of Colorado, but I know where my dad's from, and I think it's Fremont County, where Canyon City is. Cannabis recreational sales banned in the whole county. They voted against it. So that's lost revenue because that's southern Colorado. That's near... He's 30 minutes from Pueblo. Pueblo, that's 30 minutes from Pueblo, and they make sales in Pueblo because everybody from New Mexico at the time was going up there. And if it was busy, they could have just took the 30-minute drive to Canyon City and picked up some cannabis. But no, Fremont County decided, no, we're not going to do that. So they missed out on all that money. All that money went to Pueblo.
Like good economy that comes in with cannabis.
Yeah. And, you know, like, why fight it? You know, it's going to be there. And at the end of the day, eventually that's going to have to change. Now, there's certain things that I do feel that the local jurisdiction should be able to do, because Colorado also added, I guess, what they were calling a hospitality program or something. It's consumption lounges. It's all it is. It's what we call consumption lounges here in New Mexico. I don't know why they got confusing with that. They added that, but it hasn't really been going anywhere. No one's really implementing it, and they allowed the local jurisdictions to vote yes or no on it. That I do agree with, because I feel like that is a time and place kind of decision. Does your city want it, yes or no? And your city votes on it. Like here in Las Cruces.
Mexico, where do you see that going? Consumption lounges.
So consumption lounges are kind of stuck in this weird place, and I'm not talking about law or anything, insurance. It costs a lot to insure a consumption lounge. And the liability on top of that is even higher. So people are just kind of stuck with, well, I don't want all that liability. I don't want to deal with it. It's like having a bar. You know, there's a lot of liability when you have a bar. And I only say that because they keep fucking adding laws that make it like, you know, alcohol, because there is a lot of liability because of the substance that it is, and because of the stigma that it has, and because of the misconceptions of what it does to you. There's more studies coming out finding out, well, it doesn't really do that, what they think, blah, 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 you know.
But how many more studies are we going to need, man?
Fucking feels like unlimited, but yeah, we're going to need a lot, and we're going to have to keep them coming, you know, keep fighting them. Like the one that I cited about the drive-through thing, that came out in 2022. You know, that came out 2 years ago. And that was a 2-year study from COVID. You know, so I mean, it was a small study, but at the same time, they took 2 years of data and said that nothing really changed from the time before that to now.
And is one after another that, you know, these studies always go for and in pro of cannabis.
Yeah, it's always the opposite normally of what they would say, like, oh, well, car crashes are going to go up. New Mexico car crashes didn't go up due to cannabis. You know, like we had an issue with alcohol since I can remember, you know, like since a kid. And to be honest, you can get alcohol anywhere. You can go to Lowe's grocery, you can go to Walmart, you can go to Walgreens, you can go to the gas station, you can go to the movie theater, you can go to any sporting event above high school and get alcohol. You know, I can go to any adult gathering. I can go to graduation parties. Anywhere that you go where adults are, there's going to be alcohol, and they're trying to make cannabis the issue, and that doesn't really make any sense to me, because they're automatically saying that cannabis is just as bad as alcohol, and that's simply not the case. In certain instances, yes, kids shouldn't use any substance, don't get me wrong. For adults is what I'm talking about. Cannabis is the lesser of the evil. So that is my hang up on it, and it seems like Colorado is still kind of in that kind of realm. Oh, no, but by all means, you know, we all need water.
When you said all those things, I'm like,
it choked you. You gotta be shitting me.
Oh my God.
So, and Colorado's running into more issues. So they're running into a stabilization market thing. So those few things that they tried to add to fix the program or their industry hasn't really worked. Denver's oversaturated. They're the only city that's really done the whole hospitality thing, and no one's really done it yet. I think they also added a delivery thing, which actually their delivery thing is really cool, because the way that they're going to do it is it's going to go directly from the farm to you instead of going from the farm to a retail to you. So they're cutting out the middleman and allowing deliveries to work with farms and say, yeah, we'll deliver for you, you know, bulk. And it's going to be cheaper cost for the person at the door, which is cool. I actually like that. Now, is that going to fix all the issues? No, maybe a small, tiny percentage is what I see that fixing. They have a lot more issues to tackle. I think they even got rid of their medical cannabis program a while back. You know, so like I don't even think there's a medical cannabis program there, if I'm not mistaken. If there is, they kind of forget about it. So yeah, Colorado's an interesting place. The way they went about it. They're one of the first states, and they're still trying to figure it out. But what they haven't figured out is that they lost a lot of customers, and some of them do know. But for the whole coming from this, looking at this, they haven't figured it out that Oklahoma, New Mexico, Arizona, and even Utah have cannabis, and Utah has medical cannabis. So all of those states, right away, boom, they're out of the picture. So they're not going to Colorado anymore. Texas is coming to New Mexico. Arizona's staying the fuck home. Utah is coming to Colorado, New Mexico, and Arizona. So it's split between the 3 states depending on where you live.
I've seen a lot of reps from, you know, Colorado coming and trying to position their products in
Yeah.
Mexico, you know,
because they're the smart ones seeing what's happening in Colorado, and they're seeing these issues and they're not doing it because it's touted national wide, you know, industry wise, that New Mexico is one of the easiest states to get into, you know, business wise. You know, like anybody can come here and get in, and
it's
that's
so
the way that we
cheap,
open
man.
it.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's for the people.
Yeah, it's for it was for the locals, for the people. That's why we added micros too. You know, because you know, craft cannabis is really where it's at and really where things are headed. This whole 20,000, 15,000, you know, plant count kind of thing really doesn't work when it comes to cannabis. It's all about the small batch craft cannabis because that's really where you get the good quality. And even some of our lawmakers, the Republican side, were even touting that. You know, they're like, we have some of the best microbrews in America, and to be honest, looks like we're going to have some of the best micro cannabis producers in America too.
Oh yeah,
and we're actually headed that route. So shout out to you guys, just killing it with 200 plants. You know, so you know, you guys need a little bit more. Don't get me wrong. Maybe we can get that next year. But Colorado doesn't have any of that. You know, they don't have the micro licenses. They don't have, you know, a really friendly home grow kind of thing. They still have weird limits on how much you can possess. You know, there's still, you know, cities that don't allow it, and so there's still a weird stigma. I go visit my family, and there's still a weird stigma about cannabis. So it's just interesting. But at the same time, Colorado is trying to play catch up legislatively, and they're trying to catch up to not just New Mexico. They're trying to catch up to everybody around them. And I don't know if what they're doing is actually going to work. And
they saw the economics, and you know, lawmakers are making it work.
Yeah.
Colorado, they started really good and they're doing good, but like you say, if you don't catch up, the industry is going to outgrow you because cannabis is evolving every day, every single day is evolving. You know, there's new laws, more politicians are getting involved.
Yeah.
The conversations are opening to, hey, even veterans.
Yeah.
So who knows what's going to happen? But one thing I'm sure, hopefully, that New Mexico keeps doing great things with it, you know, with its cannabis laws, because it's saving a lot of lives, it's helping a lot of people, and that's all. You know, that's all it matters when it comes to laws. You know, the benefit and also to make sure everybody's doing the right thing.
Yeah.
I think as citizens, that's what we want, and as cannabis consumers, we want those things, and we are thankful, you know, as Texans, for New Mexico having these great laws. They're not perfect.
No laws are
They're
perfect.
Keep evolving, but at least they are benefiting people, you know.
Yeah, I have less worries, you know, than anything else. Yeah, definitely. So, but anyway, thank you so much for joining me today. That's all I have for you guys. You know, I hope this, you know, conversations can continue, and I'm sure we'll hear more about, you know, Colorado and everything, because, you know, it's a good outlook to what we could look forward to if we do the same thing, which we're not, thank God. So, but anyway, guys, thank you so much again.
Thanks,
appreciate it. Yeah,
thanks
appreciate you, Battle. Yeah,
and
thank you for
helping out. I got your 6.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
And guys, please support veterans, support CannaVets, and help each other to have a good life and a happy one.
Heck yeah, I agree. So make sure you guys don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, share, all that good stuff. Because if you want to hear more Ask Chad Grassy Logic, we got to get it more out there.
This guy's going to be the number 1.
All right, guys. I'll see you next week. Shoots.